And we can all see the screen now. Fantastic, getting some thumbs up. That's wonderful. Yes, to introduce myself, I am Kevin Adley. I am country manager for audible.co.uk. Audible, maybe some of you have come across or met, many of you may not have. Audible produce audiobooks and podcasts, and as well as selling those for other providers, we produce our own. We're based in the US, but have 10 businesses throughout different countries around the world. We're a US-led company, and we're owned by Amazon. You see some of the faces there of some of the people that we work with in producing some of the audio entertainment that we've done for many years. As I say, I'm the country manager. What that means is kind of the general boss of the UK business. So that's being responsible for ensuring that we hit our financial outcomes, but more so ensuring that the team, who have many different functions from lots of different walks of life, are working together in order to feel included, able to support one another, produce their best work and be their best selves at work. So really, it's a supporting role of ensuring that people know what we're working towards, have a clear direction for what our plans are, our strategy is, feel that they belong, feel that they can kind of trust and work with each other to deliver against our goals. So what I was going to do today was just talk a bit about my background and how I've gotten to the point that I'm up now and what I hope to do next. And so really, to do that, all I've done is drop down my CV and all of the different jobs and opportunities that I've had through my life to date. It's a pretty jumbled experience, but as you see, I can talk through it and talk about some of the experiences that I've had and the people I've met along the way and what they've been able to do for me. And so hopefully you can pull from that something that places in context all the things that you're thinking about right now about career decisions or where you want to be, or some of the big decisions that you've got coming up. So certainly, I've met some of those and continue to think through what I want to do with my career and the opportunities and things that I want to learn even today. So you'll see that it's definitely not a straight line, but I'll hope that you'll see that it's something that I've really enjoyed working on as I've gone through where I'm at today. So it's kind of an upside down way of looking at things, but if you start at the bottom of the experience and things there, you'll see my education, and then we'll work upwards as I talk about some of the jobs that I've done through my curriculum vitae. We start with my education. I went to school in Croydon, grew up in Croydon, and then left there, went to a college a bit further out of Croydon in a place called Reigate. It's kind of out in Surrey, and studied for some A-levels in English, sociology and economics. I'd always kind of liked kind of stories and writing and more kind of English-based subjects, history, economics, etc. Maybe not so much kind of mathematics, although I got more into that later in my career. And so I ended up going to Nottingham Trent to study. I wasn't going to go to university at all. I was going to go traveling. I worked for a while. I worked in a kind of a legal profession in an office that would help people find legal representation. So I did that for a while, but then after a while of traveling around and working, decided to go to university fairly late in the day, to be honest, but went to Nottingham Trent University. Again, even when I went there, initially it was to study economics. So I went up there, really enjoyed the course at college, really enjoyed working with the teacher that I had, and really kind of thought economics was quite an interesting area. When I got to university, it was still interesting, but I was less inspired by the work that was being done. And so after the first semester there, spoke with my tutors and spoke with some of the teachers about whether or not it was really something that I felt passionate about. And so I ended up changing and studied English for the rest of my course at Nottingham Trent University, English literature and English language. So that was many different modules. I got to read a hell of a lot of books, really enjoyed that time there in being able to kind of immerse myself in literature and books, etc., which was really more kind of a passion than really knowing that that was where my career would lead. It was really just kind of I had an interest and enjoyed English at that time. So while at university and shortly thereafter, my dad's a builder, so I worked with him and companies that he was part of for many years, labouring primarily, and also worked in a bar in Nottingham that I stayed on after a while after I left university. So I was living in Nottingham, travelling down to London for a bit, and really deciding what I wanted to do next. Didn't really know where my career was leading. Had a rough idea, again, with that interest in English, that maybe a journalist or something in that area might be something that I could enjoy, but really didn't know how to break into that industry. It seems quite a difficult industry to break into. I hadn't really, had experience or work experience in that way. And if I'd had my time over, I might have found more opportunities to do that with businesses at the time. But anyway, I was sitting there trying to think through what I would do with my career, and looked at some adverts in the back of newspapers, really, about advertising sales, about getting into media businesses like newspapers, like radio, like TV, and really just selling advertising. And I've always enjoyed communicating with people. I've always enjoyed talking. I enjoyed the bar work that I did of just being able to relate and chat with people. And so applied for some jobs in advertising sales, and had a few replies for kind of entry-level positions, graduate positions, and ended up working for a company called ValueClick. They were a very small company, had really just launched. They were selling advertising on the internet, which back then was relatively new, and we're looking for people who could help buy media for them across lots of different websites across the UK. So I took an entry-level position with them, a small team, really enjoyed it. They trained me up, they helped me with sales training, with how to do that. They had some more experienced people there that were also looking to develop us as a team. So really welcomed me and gave me a start in my career. And the smiley gentleman that you see on the medium left there, in front of the Spotify logo, was one of my first colleagues there and one of my first mentors. And he was someone who really kind of helped me, train me up, was a little bit more experienced than me, not a lot, he was only a couple of years older. But throughout my career, he would be someone that would help me and guide me and offer advice on where I might need to go next. And indeed, that's one piece of advice I'd always give is talk to people, work with people. You'll be surprised those people that you build a relationship with and can help open doors and introduce you and kind of develop your career as you go through. And indeed, that's something that now I actively look to do, is to try and find people that I can sponsor, that I can help guide them in their career. And so really there's a recognition that it's not just always about, your qualifications or what it might need to be. It's relationships too, and talking to people, learning to people, making yourself available, seeing how you can help others who might be more experienced than yourself to allow them to help you in your career. So you'll see there's a few other faces there of people that I'll talk to as we go, who have really helped me and acted as a sponsor for me and kind of spoken for me and helped me in my career. So I was at ValueClick Europe there, you see, as a publisher or executive, 2000 to about 2002. And then again, maybe got itchy feet again, and decided I want to do some travel. So I went to Tokyo. At the time, I was really just interested in travel, but honestly didn't have a lot of money. But again, started reading about roles that you could do abroad and found an opportunity to go to Tokyo to teach English. Didn't really need qualifications. It was more a matter of if you could speak conversational English. They were looking for young people to go out and teach and speak to people in classes of 3 to 5 people. So there's a lot of kind of conversation English. So did that, had a fabulous time in Tokyo, fabulous time in Japan, amazing people, amazing experiences. Learned a lot of just being kind of taken out of my comfort zone and having to communicate and having to find a path to, find food in the supermarket and find my way to the post office, and really had a fabulous experience with an entirely foreign culture that I still tell stories of now. So I'm thrilled and I'm really glad that I took that step, which felt very scary at the time, right? I'd worked really hard to get my first job, to get a step on the ladder, but felt that I still wanted to see some of the world. And so stepped out of the role that I had with ValueClick and went to Japan for a while. Happened to coincide with the World Cup, the Football World Cup at the time, which may or may not have been the reason that I went there. So watched lots of the Football World Cup while I was there and had a fabulous time in Tokyo. Then needed to come back to London and honestly needed to get a job again. Thankfully, again, thinking about those relationships that I've built, of the people that I'd spoken to, I knocked on the door at ValueClick and said, "Hey, I'm back in the UK." And they said, "Well, we don't actually have any jobs right now that you might be suitable for, but we need some help around the office and some help kind of doing some filing and some paperwork." And I said, "Yeah, great. That would be fantastic, just to pay some bills, to be honest." And in doing so, again, you built relationships, you started talking to people, and then eventually a role became available, and I was able to kind of build myself up through that business. So between 2004, 2007, I raised in different roles, mainly in sales roles. So I was selling kind of advertising solutions to different businesses. Again, just kind of going out, communicating with people, educating them on online marketing, on digital marketing, on technologies and tools to be able to do that. So I immersed myself in that world and really became an expert in something that I never knew anything about a few years behind. But because I had the time and the opportunity to really immerse myself in this case, online advertising and online technology, I became the expert and far more expert than people who are far more senior than me or had lots more experience in different kinds of marketing. And really that ability to dive deep into something and become the expert in the room meant and has really kind of built my career from that point onwards. You'll be amazed when you're new in a role, new in a career, and you're given an area of ownership. By going deep into that and becoming kind of critical and an expert, it sounds more difficult than it is to become an expert in a topic once you're in a business doing it day in, day out, because everybody's busy with lots of other things. Find that thing that's going to make you most valuable and get really good at it, and then that will help push you through your career from that point onwards. So I did that for ValueClick, had made lots of great friends, really developed my career, learned lots of things, and then opportunities started coming to me, and I wanted to travel again, and a business was launching in Amsterdam, and they contacted me via a recruiter and said, "Would you like to come to Amsterdam to set up a business selling games and music and technology via mobile phones?" My friend Johnny there, you see the smiley guy working for Spotify, had recently left, gone to work for Spotify. That was just starting, that was just setting up. And so I thought, yeah, I can see some parallels there. Spoke to him about it. He offered advice about what he was finding interesting, difficult, challenging. And I went to a similar company in Amsterdam to help them with their online marketing. Again, with that idea that I'd established my level of expertise, that they were looking for that kind of knowledge. Had a fabulous time in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands. Big clogs, lots of cheese, lots of fun people, and had a really interesting time. Spent about a year, 18 months there, developing teams, growing people, doing online marketing for that business. And then again, felt that the business wasn't maybe going where I wanted it to be, and thought maybe I'll take another pause here and think what I might want to do next. A friend, so I was thinking about traveling again. A friend had just got a job on a ski hill in Canada, and I'd never snowboarded in my life. Always thought it was something that might be fun. And so I said, well, yeah, I'll come with you for a while and learn how to snowboard. And ended up spending about a year, 18 months on a mountain in Alberta in Canada. Firstly, learning how to snowboard. Secondly, getting a job on a snow hill, selling tickets and making sure people felt comfortable on the ski hill. And then eventually teaching people how to snowboard a little bit. So again, a fabulous experience that I was very lucky to have had out in the Canadian Rockies. Then I came back to the UK. Again, needed a role, needed a job. All that I managed to learn in my period with ValueClick and to a certain degree with Blink had given me some skills that were of value to the market. Amazon came calling. They were looking for someone to help them partner with lots of different websites across the UK and internationally. What they called their associates program, which was via the internet. They would link with lots of different smaller websites that would drive customers to Amazon. They still do that today. My experience with ValueClick had meant that I knew some stuff around that. A very specific and very kind of functional knowledge that honestly I might not have got a job with Amazon if I did not have that very specific functional knowledge that I'd picked up over the time by diving deep on an area that I was interested in, and there was an opportunity in. So that opened doors at Amazon. I ended up doing partnerships there for 2 or 3 years. And then again, rather than it being kind of a defined process, one of my colleagues at Amazon looked after our Google advertising, both in terms of the advertising that we pay Google to place, as well as how Amazon links on Google for free. I can talk about that if you're interested when we have Q&A. And we swapped roles. So I moved over from doing partnerships, and we both wanted to gain more experience, gain more knowledge of different areas of the Amazon business. And so we said, well, how about we have some transferable skills. Why don't we just change roles for a period of time to keep us motivated, to keep us interested? That's what we did. So I moved over, looked after paid search for Amazon for a period of time a little while ago. Next up, and then I'll stop talking, I promise. Audible came about. I was really interested in the business. Amazon own Audible. Audible was a much smaller business than Amazon. Amazon is a very large business even then, and I was kind of interested in working for a smaller business again, just because it's sometimes nice to know the size of an organization, to know most of the people that you work in day out, and build relationships in that way. So I got talking with the woman that you see at the top right of your screen there. A woman called Tracy, who was very different to my boss at Amazon, who's the guy that you see one level down. Both were very different to me, but I learned different things from them and from being working with them day in and day out. Les, the guy, was very analytical, a real kind of maths genius, which I wasn't, and he would challenge me every day, trying to learn how to kind of dive deep into analytical and mathematical problems in the way that he would find, second nature. And he taught me different approaches and how to do that by really challenging me to work harder. Again, those skills are something that I've been able to take forward from my career afterwards. Tracy, on the other hand, is a very gregarious kind of great with people type of leader. So again, I've been able to learn from her different skills and different ways of interacting with people. From Les, very analytical. From Tracy, more emotional, more working with people, figuring through how I can lead teams and motivate them and hopefully make them better and enjoy their work even more than they do already. So with Audible, my career has grown, taken on different experiences. As I say, it was a smaller team. Now I lead that team. And really a lot of what we do now is trying to find ways that we can work together to promote Audible and sell that to new customers, as well as working with different publishers in the audio industry. And I'll talk about some of those opportunities in a sec, where we're finding new talent, finding producers and authors and podcast makers, and helping them to produce their content and get it out to customers so that they can go about and listen to new stuff. So we're really excited to listen to or to meet new voices, new talent, because we have a growing industry of consumers that are really interested in hearing about new stories and new audio that we can help them to promote. So that took me to where I'm at Audible today. Mainly on the marketing side is where I've grown. Now it's kind of general leadership. I really enjoy building teams. I really enjoy helping people in their career and finding ways to make themselves better. And so that's what much of my day is these days, is kind of setting the vision, setting the structure, figuring out where the business might need to go next, and then ensuring people feel well supported in what they do, because they're all functional experts, functionally skilled in what they're doing. So helping them learn, helping them develop their skills, and then we as a business grow together. So that hopefully is some way of a path through my my checkered career. As I said, as I went through, and I hope you picked up, it was in no way a straight line. As you can probably see, that I stepped out of that line purposely in some cases. In others, you know, things didn't quite work out as I hoped they might, and so you kind of needed to step sideways or step downwards. I learned throughout the journey, both from people that I worked with or by actively looking for on-the-job training and other skills as I developed my career. There's many things that I didn't have with me when I left school, when I left university, but I went on different management training. I learned Google skills. I learned kind of technical skills as you develop through your career. And so being open to those experiences, and many businesses will support their employees in doing so, is absolutely something that I would continue to strive on. And then, as I say, kind of building relationships with sponsors, understanding how others who are more senior than you, perhaps, or have different skill sets, how you can both learn from them, but they can also open doors for you. You know, everybody wants to see their team, their partners do better and grow. So being open to that and working with people that you work with, and just making yourselves available and clear that you want to grow and develop your career is absolutely strong advice that I would give. So broadly, you know, a visualization of that. You may have seen this before in other places, but you know, as you're sitting there trying to think through what your careers might look like, you maybe think it looks like the image on the left. In reality, it looks like the image on the right, and that is okay. Be open to new experiences, be open to learning, be open to building relationships and finding sponsors, and then you know, things will progress as they do throughout your career, I'm sure. Talking of trying to find ways that maybe I can help open some doors, at least. There's a couple of opportunities that I wanted to talk about at Audible that are present now and live now, and or coming soon. So as of a couple of days ago, we started running for people to apply to take free workshops with Audible in audio production. So that's training in a wide range of topics related to what we call off-mic roles. So not the people who are recording the audiobooks or the podcasts, but the people behind the mic who are producing that, directing that, editing, engineering, sound design, really everything that's in the studio to make great audio happen. So you'll see there is a URL to find out more information if anyone here is interested in doing that. Entirely free, open to anyone. All you need to do is fill out a form and kind of apply and tell us why you're interested in a career in audio production. So please take the URL and take a look at that for those that are particularly interested in audio or audio production as a thing that they might find interesting. More generally, we're hoping to, or we will launch some internships for Audible UK imminently. A small number of paid interns across areas like marketing, content production, legal, human resources, kind of working with the team, finance. That will be in the summer, July to August. And you'll be provided with a program of learning and development as you go. This one is for people who are over 18. So we're thinking people who are either during a degree or taking a gap year, or for those who have taken an entirely different path that doesn't include degrees at all. Just people who are interested in media, entertainment, or the tech sector. No prior experience is required, or work experience. So I'll ask Pudam and the team at Access Aspiration to send over more information for anybody who wants to submit an application there. And you know, it'll be a short phone screen, and we'll be able to take it from there. So hopefully there's some opportunities that might sound of interest, but I did want to share with them now, and more info to follow over email as we go.